shake on it. Ah! You nicked it. Just got the tip with your little steak knife.
Welcome back, everyone. Marvel just released some new scenes of Deadpool and Wolverine, and a lot of you were convinced you spotted Blade in the background. Blade, of all people. So we'll explain what's going on. I know everyone's been asking for Wesley Snipes' Blade to come back, and Marvel has been having tons of problems with their actual new Blade movie with Mahershala Ali. Now everyone is thinking a totally different version of Blade that everybody forgot about from back in the day might be in this movie as a variant. So if you're brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get everything. We're still doing that Deadpool and Wolverine ticket giveaway. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and just post all your predictions about where you want to see Blade show up in the MCU again. I'll name another new winner during this video too. But the new Blade scene everyone was talking about this week came from this preview that Marvel dropped. There's a couple different scenes that they dropped, but it's this one in particular. It's part of a scene where Deadpool and Wolverine are captured by the X-Men Fox Marvel variants and brought to Cassandra Nova's Ant-Man base. Notice how Wolverine still has his sleeves intact, so this is earlier in the movie. Probably right after they've been fighting in front of that 20th Century Fox sign, then they get captured. Wolverine chops off part of Deadpool's junk. He makes that Paul Rudd aging joke as they walk up and see Ant-Man for the first time. The reason why everyone's talking about Blade here is because of this guy in the back, zoom and enhance, behind Deadpool on the right next to Toad from Bryan Singer's X-Men movies. Now that is the actor Ray Park playing Toad who came back. But a lot of people recently on social initially thought that this person was meant to be a variant of Blade because of his long leather jacket. It's meant to be the same type that Wesley Snipes' Blade wears in all the Blade movies. People were guessing that this was meant to be the Sticky Fingers version of Blade from the Blade TV show that aired on Spike TV back in the day. If you don't remember, there was a Blade TV series. It did exist. You didn't hallucinate it.
This summer, some things are better left undead. Spike TV's first original drama, Blade, the series, coming this June, only on Spike TV.
If you never watched that Blade TV series, those episodes, the whole idea is that Blade partnered up with a brother-sister team that helped him infiltrate Marcus Van Siever from the comics, who was the leader of House Chthon, a house of vampires. Chthon as in also the Chthon from Marvel lore. Same character that created the Darkhold Temple, featured during Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. He's the god of chaos in the MCU. He's also the person that gave Scarlet Witch her chaos magic when she was born. We'll probably eventually see a version of that character in future Scarlet Witch stories in a future Marvel movie at some point after she comes back. But the Blade TV show was set in an alternate universe. It was created by a totally different group of people outside Marvel with help from David Goyer, the writer on the Blade movies. But the whole idea is that Wesley Snipes didn't want to do a Blade TV show after doing Blade Trinity, so that's why they cast a totally different actor and gave it a way lower budget. People were incorrectly remembering it as the CW Blade because it aired on Spike TV, not the CW. And as funny as it sounds, Ryan Reynolds putting the TV show Blade in the movie instead of Wesley Snipes' Blade, I actually don't think that this guy is meant to be Blade. He looks kind of like a parody of Blade with the trench coat, with the weapons that he's got slung across his vest under the long coat, kind of like Blade would wear his weapons. But you don't see Blade's trademark sword hanging on his back, and this actor doesn't look like the same actor from the Blade TV series. I think it's more likely that this guy is just someone totally random, not Blade. He just looks kind of like Blade. As far as I can tell, he's not from any of the X-Men movies either. So he might be just a totally new original character they created for the movie. It seems like Deadpool and Wolverine just tear through all these X-Men variants here too, so this person probably dies pretty quickly. The reason why there's so much Blade talk recently, though, is because of the announcements that Marvel just made about the new Blade solo movie with Mahershala Ali that they've been working on, and because of Ryan Reynolds' personal history with the Blade franchise.
Basically, whatever gets you hard, this puppy will pump them out. Of course, doesn't have the range of a sword, but...
If you don't remember, long before he became Deadpool and Wolverine Origins, in the time before times, he was Hannibal King during Blade Trinity. Now recently, Wesley Snipes did just allude on his social media to coming back to Marvel at some point. He also then commented separately on recent problems Marvel was having with the new Blade movie, so it sounds like he is down to return. But a lot of people were quick to point out the old school beef that supposedly went down between Ryan Reynolds and Wesley Snipes when they were making Blade Trinity back in the day, using that as a potential reason why he might not want Wesley Snipes in Deadpool and Wolverine. Way back when he was promoting the first Deadpool movie, he was asked about doing Blade 4, like more Blade movies with Wesley Snipes. This is the clip of him basically trying to say hell no in the nicest possible way. Like he's trying to be really nice about this, but very clearly he wants to have nothing to do with Wesley Snipes.
I heard Wesley Snipes talking about a fourth movie, coming back into the game.
Yeah.
And I was wondering, would you be interested to do another one, to be back as Hannibal King, or why?
No, I
Wesley Snipes ask you,
Yeah.
come back, you'd say, yeah, sorry, man, but...
I would say sorry. No.
okay.
Now you have to remember that that's from 2016, a long time ago. It sounds like since then, Ryan Reynolds has buried the hatchet with Wesley Snipes. So whatever beef they had between them, it's long since over. I didn't see any reports about what Wesley Snipes would be doing as his version of Blade or a variant of Blade in the actual movie. There's supposed to be scenes of Deadpool traveling the multiverse before he and Wolverine wind up in the Void, and then on the Void, there's a bunch of different types of cameo scenes. Like there's all these cameo scenes here with these X-Men, Fantastic Four, other Fox Marvel actors. They seem like they're Cassandra Nova's evil band of X-Men that she's assembled of different variant characters. Then there's a Resistance group with a bunch of other types of cameos and variants. I've talked about them in separate videos. We have the Deadpool Corps. They're like another totally separate group. So there's just a lot of different places where Blade could actually show up and it would make sense. And a lot of you remember, even before they did Mahershala Ali's Blade post-credit scene in the Eternals movie here, vampires had been canon to the main MCU movies for a long time, like the regular MCU movies. They reference them all the time on a bunch of different TV shows, going back to like Iron Fist, there's She-Hulk, Thor Ragnarok, Werewolf by Night. They even mentioned vampires during the official novelization of the first Iron Man movie back in 2008, of all places during an Iron Man book based on the plot of the movie. Fun fact too, Peter David actually wrote that. Most people just know him from his comic books. Novelizations of movies are very common. It's basically them turning the movie into a book form, but because of the way they write their movies, a lot of stuff winds up hitting the cutting room floor, so it sounds like maybe there was some sort of vampire reference in one of the early Iron Man scripts that just wound up getting cut from the final version of the movie. So vampires just in general are not a new concept in the MCU. Previously, I had heard rumors about Wesley Snipes coming back in other Marvel movies besides Deadpool and Wolverine. They're closing down the multiverse saga of movies, so really like the option to bring him back, if it's not going to be some multiverse twist with variants, would basically just have him play a new character. And like I said, I think he'd be amazing as the new version of Whistler in that Mahershala Ali Blade movie. The whole deal with Marvel in the new Blade movie is they just lost their director. They have so many script problems over the last several years. It's been 5 years since they actually announced the movie back at Comic-Con 2019. By the time they get around to actually making the Blade movie, Mahershala Ali is going to look like this. Fun fact too, True Detective, he starred with Stephen Dorff in that, who was in the first Blade movie. But apparently they're still making that new Blade movie, so there's plenty of opportunities for Wesley Snipes to come back in some role, either cameoing as a version of Blade, like we have Avengers Secret Wars. He could cameo as a different character during the new Blade movie if it's not going to be a multiverse film. And that new Blade movie is supposed to set up the Midnight Suns movie, which they're also working on, but that movie won't happen until after they make Blade. Oscar Isaac was talking about that too when he was asked about Moon Knight Season 2. Like, they are supposed to do Moon Knight Season 2, but Moon Knight is supposed to cross over with Blade, the Black Knight, Werewolf by Night, basically all these big supernatural Marvel characters. And they're just using Blade as like the big MCU movie to set that off. But I don't know if that means that Moon Knight is supposed to show up in the Blade movie. Maybe in the original version before it changed like 4 or 5 times, which is like a meme now, like new script for the Blade movie, plot totally changed. The way that Marvel has been talking about Midnight Suns is sort of like a big team-up, another team-up Defenders style, but for characters that wouldn't necessarily go on the Avengers, but the budget just wouldn't really work for what they typically do for TV shows. Like, they do have new versions of Defenders stuff going on inside the new Daredevil series, but that's relatively ground level. Stuff like Midnight Suns getting into like really supernatural magic based up, like really dark stuff, would just involve them spending way more on visual effects. Especially with characters like Ghost Rider, for example. Everybody waiting to see when Ghost Rider is going to show up in the MCU again. That's also one of the reasons why they're not doing She-Hulk Season 2, even though it was very divisive. Like, people are like, well, a lot of people hated it, that's why they're not doing it. They're also not doing it because the budget was so high for actually doing Hulk-based effects.
I will answer your questions, but you must first transform back to Jennifer.
Why?
You are very expensive.
Oh, sure.
That's why you see them saving a lot of those really special effects heavy characters, visual effects heavy characters for just the movies. Same thing happened with the Armor Wars series. That's why they turned it into a movie, because they had to do all those Iron Man effects. Like, how you do all those Iron Man armors and do it justice on a TV level budget. It's just unfeasible. I am sure there's going to be 1,000 more cameos in Deadpool and Wolverine that we haven't seen in any of the trailers or the previews, so there will be a lot of surprises. Whatever they wind up releasing, of course I will do videos about it. And big reminder, bunch of stuff coming up this week. We're in the middle of House of the Dragon Season 2 episodes. I just posted my Episode 1 video, The Boys Season 4 episodes, Acolyte, so be sure to enable alerts for my channel so you don't miss any of that. We're going to be eating good this summer. Congratulations, Grand Inquisitor. You're the giveaway winner from my last big Marvel video. Please email me on the About page of my channel on desktop so I can get your contact details. Everybody click here for my full House of the Dragon Season 2 Episode 1 video, and click here for my Episode 2 trailer video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.